lot of noise are happening across the media that major tax reforms are happen in this budget session, and they had addressed the pain of middle class family. So I want to ask you how these are going to help us as a economy and to our market.
Well said. I think I agree to that. That the central government's decision to offer the tax rebate aims to stimulate the consumption in India, and particularly amongst the middle class, what you rightly said, and whose marginal propensity to consume is higher. This is in turn is expected to boost the overall consumption in the country.
Hello, my name is Vikas Agrawal and I am the founder of AIF and PMS Experts India. Well, AIF is your alternative investment funds and PMS is portfolio management services. At AIF and PMS Experts India, it is our endeavor to educate and empower the entire investor community as a whole. And therefore, we have taken the mission of reaching out to as many people as we can, educate them, empower these investors, and help them take the right decision. And therefore, when I laid down the foundation of this organization, we came out with the concept of Ask the Expert Show. In these kind of shows, we invite the industry experts. We try and read their mind and decode the investment philosophies of various investment fund managers. I am today speaking to you with a request. What we have observed is that there are more than 90% of the viewers in our YouTube channel who have watched our video and have been watching our video continuously at the regular intervals, but have not yet subscribed to our channel. So my submission to all of you is that please subscribe to our channel so that we can reach out to more individuals like you and spread the awareness about the whole investing game. So once again, my submission would be please subscribe to this and also share this video with your friends and family if you find that these videos are adding value to your life. Once again, thank you so much.
Very warm good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this exclusive session on decoding the Union Budget 2025. Hi, Samir Kumar. I am the host today for this session. I am working as a CBO in AIF PMS Expert India Private Limited. As you all know, every budget brings a mix of expectation, opportunities, and challenges. This year, budget focus on various themes like tax reform, infrastructure, startups, and market growth. To help us navigate through this insight, we are honored to have with us Mr. Vikas Agrawal, who is the founder and CEO of AIF PMS Expert India Private Limited. He is a well-known personality in business media and social media. He participated in a various market talk show on G Business and made more than 200 podcasts with various fund managers across the globe. So today, he will help us to understand the budget in a very simple manner and a very simplified way. So over to you, Mr. Vikasji.
Thank you, Samir, for organizing these sessions. And at AIF and PMS Experts India, we always said that this is our endeavor to educate and empower the investor community as a whole. And this kind of step clearly indicates that how keen we are in terms of keeping our commitment. So thank you so much. Let me share my screen first, and just let me know once you can see my screen. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we want to decode the entire budget division, the recent announcement that we had, and then talk about how it is going to be beneficial for all of us from an investor point of view. So key features of budget 25-26 is here. That's the journey of development. So the government is very clear and focused. By the way, let me start by sharing this. By far, this was one of the best budget shared by our Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Ma'am in the NDA regime. So when you look at the journey of development, this budget talks about these 5 areas, which is agriculture, MSME, investments, exports. So what it basically talks about is that they're trying to set the stage for Viksit Bharat and the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, which is by 2047, India should be Viksit Bharat. And to fuel the economy, clearly you require reforms, and then you have to have guiding spirits, which is inclusivity in certain areas, because India is unique. It is by far the largest democracy in the world and has unique opportunities and unique challenges, and therefore inclusivity is extremely important here. And ultimately, what is the destination? The destination is, as I said, Viksit Bharat. So, couple of areas to focus on for this government. One is to accelerate the growth. Now, in the recent past, what we were witnessing is that there was a slowdown in our overall economy in terms of GDP production, GDP. So the number clearly fell down from 7.5, 7.8% last year to 6%. So of course, this was much needed that we have to focus on certain areas which will help us to accelerate the growth and become developed economy. The second is secure, inclusive developments. I talked about the relevance of that. Enhance spending power of India's rising middle class. Now, this is one area this time our Ministry of Finance really focused on, because they've been doing a lot for different corners of the society, but middle class somewhere was kind of missed out in the last 11 years. For example, 2018, they felt the need of reducing the corporate tax, and after reducing the corporate tax, we saw the kind of recovery happened in the corporate sector, and the way our earnings started shaping up, the market also supported the same. So one reform on the corporate tax cut helped the economy to take it up to the next level. And they've done a lot for the society, poor people. They've done a lot of things for farmers, but the middle class was ignored. So with the new introduction of tax regime, they try to address this by giving zero income tax up to 12.75 lakh rupees of income. So most of the middle class income would get covered up with this. Then encourage and invigorate the private sector investments. While there are two school of thoughts, one is emerging as if the government of India itself doesn't want to take too much of capex, then why would private sector corporate should look at it? But that's not how it should be read. It should be looked at from a point of view that last year the government of India had a budget of 11.11 lakh crores, and because of some pre-commitments, which is national level of election, which is Lok Sabha election, and then two major elections, which is Haryana and Maharashtra, the government of India was involved in managing the show, and somehow because of some other challenges and the headwind coming from global economies, that target was not achieved. So they spent about almost 8.5 lakh crores as we speak today, and want to make it about 9 lakh crores. Now, this 9 lakh crores is also not a small number, by the way. And people are also talking about that there is a shift from capex-led growth to consumption-led growth. No, I won't say that. I would say that it is not a shift. It is capex-led growth and consumption-led growth. So government of India has also realized that it is not only capex-led growth all the time, but you have to also give money in the hand of the people for them to be able to save more, spend more, and contribute more to the GDP. So this is one. The other is, and that basically uplifts the overall household sentiments. So clear focus and development measure focusing on Garib, the poor man of India, youth, Annadata, which is farmer, and Nari, more power to women. So these are few areas that they really focused on. I don't know how many times you would have remember. I remember that while giving the speech, our honorable finance minister talked about ease of doing business at least by 15, 16 times. So this clearly indicates that this government is clearly focused on improving the overall economic situation of the country. So this is the way that they are spurring the agriculture growth and building rural prosperity. I don't want to get into details, but some basic aspect that was already covered up, which is they are enhancing the credit through KCC, which is a credit card, to 7.7 crore farmers, and the limit has enhanced to now 5 lakh rupees. The Prime Minister Dhanya Krishi Yojana, Developing Yojana, which is to basically cover up the 100 district and likely to help 1.7 crores of farmers. Mission for cotton productivity. India was known for its cotton productivity, and now idea is to bring technology, facilitate this industry and increase the overall productivity. Then national mission on high yielding seeds. This is one area which is well targeted, and specialization on high yielding seeds. A lot of research is going on out there, and focus is more on improving the Makhana board in Bihar to set up basically a production and processing unit to add more value to it and see to it that how the overall productivity goes up. Then talking about Atma Nirbhar Bharat, so government believes that we can become Atma Nirbhar on basis 3 parameters. One, we fulfill our own requirements and then focus on exporting. So then they launched the 6 years mission for clearly focus on dals, pulses, which is tuar dal, urad dal, masoor dal. Focus more on that, their overall development, their overall productivity, overall enhancing the productivity of the protein in India. So that is one area, and the other is India Post as catalyst for rural economy. So rural community hub, location wise, basically giving them more empowerment to improve the overall credit services to the micro enterprises. This is what it is. Then again, the second focus was on MSMEs. MSMEs plays an important role for strengthening Make in India power. So couple of announcements out there in terms of a credit card is to be given to micro enterprises, and again, the limit is 5 lakhs rupees. It can go up to 10 lakhs rupees also if they are registered on Udyam portal. Then first time entrepreneurs, especially women, if they are coming, so 2 crores of the term loan is kind of given to those people up to 2 crore rupees. This is happening for the first time for next 5 years. Manufacturing mission, India wants to be the part of global supply chain, and it cannot be a major significant player unless we have very strong and robust process for manufacturing mission in India. So ease and cost of doing business. I remember 10 years, 11 years back, our ranking for ease of doing business used to be 143, 144, which has come down to now 39, 40. But idea is to be amongst the top 10, and government is not leaving a single stone unturned to ensure they bring more clarity on the table for SMEs and MSMEs to kindly work on that. Also helping them with technology, focus on quality product and clean tech manufacturing for climate friendly environment. Again, measure for labor intensive sector, focus on food product schemes, measure for toy industry. They want India to export the toys, and for whatever is required, they are sort of building up the stage for that in terms of improving the quality. Again, focus on food. Now, when you look at the other thing is investing in people, economy and innovation. This is another area which government wants to focus on, which is expansion capacity in IITs, Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan program. This is one of the most successful program going in the rural economy. Daycare cancer centers for at the district level. Bharti Bhasha Pustak scheme, where converting all the literature that we have, which we call it, हमारे भारत की जो ताकत है, जो हमारे अर्थशास्त्रों से लिखी गई है, जितने भी पुराने हैं, उसे कन्वर्ट करके एंड डिजिटल करना और उसे schools में पहुंचाना. National Center of Excellence for Scaling, Atal Tinkering Labs, basically lab to be set up in next 5 years. There are 50 labs. Center of Excellence in Artificial Intelligence for Education, and they have set aside almost 500 crores for that. The government of India strongly believes that in the years to come, artificial intelligence will play a very, very important role, and they have created an internship program also under the PM guidance. We'll talk about it in the next slide. Broadband connectivity for everyone, expansion of medical education, PMS Nidhi program to be continued, revamp, welfare of online platform workers. Again, investing in people, economy and innovation, support the state for the infrastructure. Jal Jeevan Mission, they want 100% coverage, so everybody should have access to water in India. And also power sector reforms, and they're kind of taking additional borrowings for the same and trying to reform the sector. Maritime development funds, they've set aside 25,000 crores almost for that, because when you look at developed economies, they have their own ships, they have their own port, and they play a very, very important role in global supply chain, whereas India needs to really work on that. So a lot of work is happening out there. 49% contribution by the government of India in terms of financing this, ensuring that the containers are well maintained at the port level, and there is enough space around that to manage the same. You talk about warehouses, etc. Nuclear energy mission for Viksit Bharat. This is very, very important, and amendment to the Atomic Energy Act, which was passed earlier, and Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act will be taken up for the active partnership with private sector. First time the private sector will enter here. Udan, again, future of Bihar needs the greenfield airports. They are launching in Bihar. Financial support to the Western Koshi Canal ERM project. And another area which the government wants to focus on is tourism, because tourism is another area where a couple of mid-sized countries have shown a lot of growth, and the tourism contributed the maximum to their growth. So India clearly wants to define their 50. They've identified 50 different locations, wants to define and connect with each other, and ensure that along with the state government of India, they develop the plan for developing the overall tourism. Investing in people, economy and innovation, again, as I talked about, PM Research Fellowship. So providing 10,000 fellowship under the guidance of our Honorable Prime Minister to those who are IITs or IIMs, to really work on certain area which can be innovative. Research and development, they have set aside almost 20,000 crores separate. Gyan Bharatam mission, so again documentation and conservation of our manuscript heritage to cover more than 1 crore manuscripts. This is very, very important. Then focusing on rationalizing the export, because ultimately if India wants to become the part of global supply chain, then export has to go up, and therefore rationalizing the custom duty in certain area, focusing on export related growth. Then there were very few financial reforms, but they were very significant from a farmer point of view. So again, this 5 lakhs rupees of limit which is defined to them. There is a separate Gramin credit score which is different from the normal civil credit score, which has been enhanced further. Partial credit enhancement facility for corporate bonds for the infrastructure part. This is very important. The third, which is more for our industry, which is revamp the central KYC. Every time we are talking about the KYC to be centralized, if that happens, and then you have people who are given income tax rebate up to 12.5 lakhs, 12.75 lakhs rupees of income, then there are chances that the SIP numbers will go up significantly in India. Rationalization of requirements, procedure for speedy approval of company merger and acquisitions. And FDI limit for the first time, they've made it 100%. And this will, open up for huge amount of FDI coming in India. Because when these multinational players, when they come, it's going to be a decadal story. They don't come for a year or two. They come for next 10, 20, 40, 50 years. And India is one of the largest markets and for insurance, and it is highly underpenetrated. So a lot of things will come. Tax reform, we already covered that in the new regime. They've taken care of the middle class family. In terms of regulatory reform, a lot of work is done. It's done through a lot of different committees which have been made. Again, clearly focus is more on Make in India, promotion of MROs, export promotions, trade facilitation. Government wants to really facilitate the trade, both deficit as well as focusing more on how do we go about improving it. Improved access to life-saving medicines. Medicines plays an important role in everybody's life, and there are 36 life-saving drugs and medicines which have been exempted from the list now, and you will see that they will be available at a cheaper price. Direct tax proposal, now the new regime, first up to 12.75 lakhs rupees there is no tax, but those who are beyond 12.75 lakh crores, they will continue to pay, but their limit has been revised now. So annual limit of 2.4 lakhs for TDS on rent increased to 6 lakhs. The tax deduction senior citizen doubled from 50,000 to 1 lakh. An introduction of a scheme for determining a arm's length price of international transaction for a block period of 3 years. Expansion of scope for safe harbor net has been reduced. So here income tax, this reform will really cover up the middle class family. Focus clearly more on employment. So therefore, focus is more on setting up the manufacturing units, giving them more support, more schemes. Focus is more on helping the startups to come and making the ease of doing business, making it even more better. This is broadly how the rupee comes from and rupee goes to. So when you look at borrowing and other liabilities, that's about 24%, and you'll have to really serve the debt also here. So borrowing is about 24% of the GDP. 9% is non-tax receipts. 4% is about custom. 17% is your corporation tax. 18% is GST. You know that. Union exercise is about 5%, and income tax, thankfully, has now reached to 22%. That's how the GDP, the rupee comes from, and the GDP construct is basically. And then the rupee goes to. So when you look at the rupee goes to, so you have 20% of interest income of the 24% that you borrowed. 16% goes towards central sector scheme. This is other than defense, the subsidy to the defense. You have another major subsidiaries which is about 6%. Your defense cost is about 8%. State share of taxes and duties is about 22%. Finance commission and other transfers is about 8%. 8% is a centrally sponsored scheme. 8% is other expenditure, and 4% is pension. So that's how the money goes. And then we can talk about it, that there are many other economic reforms that we talked about, but broadly this is how the expenditure of major items. So defense is about 4,91,732 crores. Rural development is about 2,66,817 crores. Home affairs is about 233. Agriculture is about 171. Education is about 128. Health is about 98,000. Urban development is about 96,000. IT is about 95,000. Energy is about 81. Commerce and industry is about 65,000. Social welfare is about 60,000. Scientific department is about 55,000. That's how the expenditure so far, as far as the major item is concerned. So with that, I would like to conclude my remarks here, and maybe I'll hand it over to Samir. Okay, Samir, over to you.
Yeah, thanks for your insight, Vikasji. We have couple of questions. First question is that a lot of noise are happening across the media that major tax reforms are happen in this budget session, and they had addressed the pain of middle class family. So I want to ask you how these are going to help us as an economy and to our market.
Well said. I think I agree to that, that the central government's decision to offer the tax rebate aims to stimulate the consumption in India, and particularly amongst the middle class, what you rightly said, and whose marginal propensity to consume is higher. This is in turn is expected to boost the overall consumption in the country. So that is the point, Samiji, that I want to drive. Last year, as I said, that they faced a lot of challenges in terms of meeting the overall capex target. But capex is not ignored. It is even today the target is about 11 lakh crores, and with the government adding up, the state government adding up, it inches up to almost 14-15 lakh crores. Is not a small amount by any standard. And look, this is the government which is talking about your fiscal deficit to be reduced. कहते हैं ना कि पेरेंट्स अपने बच्चों को कर्जा दे के नहीं जाना चाहते. So this government clearly indicated that they don't want to. So look at their contribution. So they are talking about 4.4% of fiscal deficit, जो उनकी borrowing है उधारी. And then you are talking about your 11 lakh crore, which comes to about 4.5, 4.6% of your expenditure, the capex. So, mota moti, it is 1:1. Now, they can't go beyond that because it is very easy to take more borrowings, and that's how globally, when you look at other big countries, this is the biggest mistake they have made of taking more and more borrowing. Look at America. वो अमेरिका इज एन इकोनॉमी, वो बोलते हैं सेइंग कि वो ऐसा जुआरी है कि जब वो हारते हैं तब तक वो डबल पे बैट करते हैं. जब वो हारते हैं तब तक वो डबल पे बैट करते हैं, इन द सेंस दैट whenever there is a shortage of funds, they borrow more. But this government is clearly focused on reducing the fiscal target deficit, at the same time growing the economy with not only investment-led, capex-led, but also with consumption-led economy. Because the consumption story of India is very strong, and somehow this was slowing down, and therefore they took this major step of giving money in the hand of the middle class family so that they can spend more. So it is not about moving from capex to consumption; it is about capex and consumption. Over to you.
After budget also, we are not seeing any impact on market. Still, market is in correction mode. So what your message to our investor about this market and link to this budget?
For that, I would like to share my screen quickly. And so Samir ji, I looked at last 10 years of data point, right from 2015, 16, 17, 18. And this is the actual number, by the way. When you look at one-day returns, most of the time markets were negative. At least this time it was positive. Number one. When you look at 1 week of returns, you have data in front of you. It is about 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5%. 0.3, 0.4. Even in some cases, it is 1%. But when you look at the bigger picture, which is after the announcement of the budget, you look at 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year time, there is not even a single year when Nifty 50 would have not delivered more than 7.5%, 7.2%, or 6.9% returns. Around 7%, you can say, in 12 months basis time. So when these kind of measures are taken, it takes time to settle down. It takes time to see to it that the real execution happening in the ground or not. And basis that the story emerges. It is not that the government of India has announced the budget and given injected the liquidity, and suddenly you will see from next day on markets turns around. It never happens. Over to you.
My last question is that what is your key message for our investor? Because our investors are in a very panic mode. They're not able to think what to do and how to do. So please give them your key message.
Two things. One, from a short-term perspective, this volatility may go up. Not to forget that whenever we talk about our global supply chain, etc., we also talk about uh, Trump ji giving dhamki to us that the tariff will go up. So that that fear is still there in the markets. Number one. Number two is not to forget that the overall growth has slowed down. Not to forget that overall earnings have reduced to good extent. Now all that will take its own time to recover. It will not happen overnight. So I would say that in the short term, one has to keep the expectation lower and see to it that major पैसा नहीं बनेगा ये अगले कुछ 6 महीने. ये मेरा अनुमान है. I could be completely wrong. But when you look at from a long-term perspective, anything which is more than 18 months to 24 months time, and then beyond that, you see the stage is all set. You have now capex, which continues to be 11.5 lakh crores coming from the central and plus the state government contributing to it. And then you have this investment and the monetization of the existing assets the government has. They also want to monetize that. So asset monetization will add up to that. And on the other side, the private sectors are waiting. The moment they see upward and surge in utilization score of the India, of the economy, then certainly they are also prepared to this time take capex. And if that happens, and then on the other side you have more money in the hand of investors, and they are likely to increase their SIP numbers. So already we are witnessing a huge amount of money coming every month, more than 20,000 crores of SIP money coming and ready to absorb the liquidity of the markets. Imagine if this doubles up, then what will happen? Then we will not be dependent on FIIs anymore, and India will continue to drive its own story. It's a unique case, cannot be compared with other economies like China or anybody else. I would say that India will write its own history, and next 5 years, 7 years point of view, everything looks good.
One more question are coming in my mind, that if I want to invest right now in this market, so it is the right time to invest or I have to wait for some time?
No, absolutely. It's the right time to invest. If you don't invest now, then when would you invest? When you look at the valuations, there are two things to invest. One, you look at the long-term story. Second, you look at the valuations. When you look at valuations, not to forget that your large cap valuations, the last 10 years of average valuation is more than 20, and today's valuation is 19.5. I'm talking about the P. So it is a lot of discount has already been given. I think it's a time to accumulate. And on the mid and small cap, it has to be selective. There the last 10 years average is lower because we had a lower base also. Not to forget that. Now the base has increased. Obviously, those numbers will also increase. But selectively, yes, I think it's a good time to accumulate money. What best can be done is if not comfortable, then maybe we can deploy the funds in the next 2 to 3 months time. But yeah, I would say that it's a good time to invest.
So thank you, Vikas ji, for your insight on this budget session. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time and your valuable insight.
Thank you. Thanks everyone.